Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to the Parenting Pod. And here we have with us is Parcsen. You mentioned that it's important that the parents have a coach. So in this case, would be like a parenting coach, maybe from Center for Fathering. Are there any other tools that parents can equip themselves with to better learn, maybe on their own?
Well, they can read, but again, information is abundant out there. Discerning what is, what's really better, applicable, and also how do you translate those principles into practical steps that suits you. That's the tricky part. The information is all there, but the translating is the part that you probably need some help in. I mean, if it's that simple, I think we wouldn't have parenting problems.
Are there a lot of cases of like parents with young kids, maybe like infants, and then the questions they ask is more, it's my first time parenting, like I'm not really sure what I should do, whether what I'm doing is right or wrong, or like how should I support, like for example my wife, she seems to be very frustrated and easily stressed.
Key things about parenting, so it sum up in one word: responsiveness. Bonding takes place through responding to your child. So imagine a parent face-to-face with the infant. The infant cannot speak. So the only way they communicate is through facial expressions and some sounds they make. And there's a part of our brains that mirrors the person we are looking at. Even in adults, when you're sitting, just like you're sitting across from me now, in some ways we mirror each other. Okay, if I smile, you smile. If I don't smile, you also wonder why.
Yes.
Okay, so we mirror each other. So the baby and the parent will mirror each other. And that's actually how bonding takes place. The attachment is happening there. So I simply tell parents, just spend as much time as you can face to face with your child. Don't worry about what to do, and all that. Millions of parents have survived without much help. Some have more information, some have less information, but regardless, they've all survived. Don't overthink it. Because we are Center for Fathering, we want to help the father especially. The take-up rate of paternity leave for 2018 was only 35%. So we have done a survey, and we're still doing a survey among these expecting fathers, asking them, do you plan to take a paternity leave? And so many of them would say yes, but not the whole thing, in installments. So they gave various reasons, like they're fearful that their careers will be jeopardized. And the second most common answer is interesting: I don't feel useful at home. And I totally understand it, because women are seen to be the experts in childcare. And if the wife has her mother helping during confinement, so now you have two women taking care of the child. Who am I? I'll just be doing the odd jobs, getting a cup of water, going wash the milk bottles and things like that. So they don't feel useful. And for men, when we don't feel useful, it's very difficult. So they would rather do something they're good at, and that's in the office. So they feel good that I'm doing something I'm good at, rather than stay at home for 2 weeks and be sidelined by experts. We help the fathers understand. We try to encourage them, take the 2 weeks of paternity leave, because that's where your attachment with the infant, your child, begins. The skin-to-skin contact when you're holding your baby helps you develop that bond. Some fathers, for them, it's love at first sight. But for other fathers, it takes time. So that 2 weeks of paternity leave is very important. Don't waste it.
Okay. So you feel that it is important that even though fathers may think that they are not useful at home, but they should still make the effort to try and learn and experience what parenting is like.
Yes. Start the bonding process. And the other role he plays is to support the wife. Because there's this thing called postpartum depression. I'm sure you heard of it.
Yes.
Baby blues. Postpartum depression is experienced both by the mother and the father. Now, the father part is underreported. People think that the fathers don't have depression, but actually they do. But because men don't necessarily talk about it, they don't freely talk about it, that's why it's underreported. People just kind of diagnose it. Oh, he's having a bad day. He's under stress and things like that. But actually, it's depression. For this depression, it's the mother who experiences it first. For fathers, it will start happening about the 6th month after the child is born.
Oh, why is that so?
What researchers believe is that it kind of hits them. In the initial part, it's a very novel experience. They're kind of still euphoric, excited. After some time, when the dust begins to settle and they have time to kind of process, and they begin to realize, the different stresses, plus the physical exhaustion, plus maybe financial stress, different factors will come in. Maybe marital relationship also begins to be affected. So different things will come together around that time, and it kind of hits him.
Earlier you mentioned how parents should try to be as responsive as possible to their child. How about with each other?
Certainly, that should go on, and I hope that they have already had enough practice or had a lot of practice before the child came. And that's why we encourage couples to go through marriage preparation, and
Yeah.
then after that, marriage enrichment, and continue practicing all this. Developing, nurturing, fondness, and admiration. So that's very important. So we hope that they continue practicing all this, being responsive, being sensitive to each other's needs. Just like the beach volleyball, when one player is engaged, the other is aware and steps in to take over. So that's what we hope that they will learn to do.
Hey parents, thank you for tuning in to our podcast. This was the Parenting Pod brought to you by For Love's Sake. For more content on parenthood, you can check out our Facebook and Instagram at forlovesake.sg. Thank you and see you next time.